Hey everyone, Mike Katz here with today's trader takeaways. What a day. Decent move in the SPYs. I am personally mentally exhausted. I'll go over exactly why. But lots of action, lots of things were moving. And I was zoned in on a few symbols. And let's see. So Spider was pretty active today and had a nice big range. Let's look at the daily. Daily was a little north of 280 and down to 276, so a little more than a $4 range, which is twice yesterday's range, and it's in line with what we've been seeing recently. So I was trading this pretty heavily today. I probably traded this most actively today, and what I saw all day long was basically selling, 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 and I would just look to join trend every time there was a retracement in the direction opposite of the trend. So basically shorting pops in the downtrend, and that was working well. I traded a lot of shares of this today, and I know that I could have done a lot better. I was probably, I want to say 50% efficient in this, meaning where if I followed all my rules, I would be 100% efficient. Um, I think I was near 50%. I made a lot of errors, took a lot of trades off, a lot of partials off early, and I'm going to spend a lot of time tonight going over what I did and where I could, tweak my exits, because I knew as I'm doing them that I'm trading emotional and I'm not exiting the right way, and basically I think I can attribute that to some of the size I was doing as I trade bigger. Also going to get affected by the emotions involved in the trade. I mean, this ended up being a really nice win, but it probably should have been twice as big a winner on the day, um, versus what I actually ended up making. So lots to learn here, but basically all day long you guys can see I was drawing levels, and right here every time it would go down, come back, retest, I try to hit it versus previous peaks, and I would size down as it would come in. And then here I gave a lot back, because as this thing drops like this, let's zoom in real quick. So as we get this type of a drop, which is a pretty big drop here of about $1.50 or so, I expect the bounce to be a fraction of the move. So when it drops to $1.50, I think 70-80 cents is an okay reaction, but when it did that, I put a lot back on, and it ended up just making higher high, higher low, grinding back. Overall, I'm interested in this thing being weak on the daily and all, but basically on this move, I sized it a little too much too early, and I took a pretty sizable loss here. And then I realized that the move was stalling out. On this level right here, it couldn't make that higher high and go to that next range over here. So I started engaging on the short side and started rolling over, failing on those higher highs, comes back, does a double bottom, then a lower high, and we get that lower low, boom, nice drop. And that's what I call my lower low, higher high change setup, where in the direction of the trend, I resume trend whenever it starts making those lower lows, lower highs again. And so this was a really good one. Was able to capitalize on the drop that followed here in the SPYs, and it was a pretty big one, considering how I was able to enter here with decent size versus where was my stop, right above here in this area. So I was risking about 30 cents, which, something like this allows me to put on pretty good size and work my way out, and cover on the washes and add on the dips, trading around the core all day. This ended up being my biggest winner, but I know what I did wrong, and I'll be able to hopefully tweak that and improve on it. And that's pretty much that. So Spider was pretty good. Traded that pretty heavily today. What else did we trade? Intel. Well, before I get to Intel, we had Qualcomm. I saw this thing last night when my phone was getting alerted that Broadcom is not going to be allowed to take them over. And I tried shorting some right here. By the time I logged on, by the time I put my trade on, I ended up getting a partial. And then, I would try to put some decent size on, but it gave me a small partial, and that was it. I didn't want to chase it. So this ended up coming down, and this morning I was trading it here, and I just got chopped up. I was not really giving it much space. Again, I was trading too big. First I wanted to trade it versus 60, then versus the 61, and then by the time it did give this lower high setup, I basically had moved on. So this one could have been, a lot of times it's a fine line between having a monster winner and a substantial loss. And this is one example of that, where this one could have easily have been a nice winner, and it ended up being a loss. So Qualcomm didn't work, and AMD was, the whole sector was very active. I had my semiconductor sector loaded up here all day, and I was looking at different symbols and how they're acting, sorting the strong ones versus the weak ones. And AMD was one that also hurt, where I was trading here on the short side, thinking that this retracement to VWAP after a move down was going to get another leg down, and that was the theme of the first half of the day. I didn't get any follow through, and so I got stopped out of here. And then I tried to short here versus $12. That one worked until I basically botched the trade. I pulled out here. I went to flat. Basically, I was having big swings on the day in the account. At the end of the day, I ended up green, and green by a small amount, nothing too crazy, but it was just big swings. So I hit the reset button here. I got flat and everything, and that's when this thing ended up dumping. So I missed out on this move. AMD was a nice play at the over under versus 12. I capitalized on some here, but not as well as I could have done. And the other one was Intel. Intel was a good one, relative weakness play. You guys saw where AMD was sitting up here. Semiconductors, the SPYs had a big bounce. Let's see, SPY had a big bounce from 12 to 1. Let's see what Intel did. Intel from 12 to 1 went sideways, right here. And AMD from 12 to 1 had a really big rip. SMH also had a pretty big bounce from 12 to 1, while Intel was weak. So I basically, when I saw that the sector was topping out, when spiders were rolling over, as I mentioned with the lower low, lower high, I wanted to tackle one of the weaker stocks in the sector. So I hit short in this one, in this range here versus 50, risking about 20-30 cents, and got a nice big drop there. And that's something I like to, like I'll sort a sector whenever the whole sector is in play. I'll sort a sector by top gainers and losers and try to pick off the ones that are acting better than others, weaker than others, and tackle those whenever I'm looking to jump on board and move. So if the market's looking like it's curling up, I'll look for strong stocks that are not really going down with the market, and vice versa. So Intel was a good one, and excuse me. In the low float world, there's a lot going on. I didn't trade this one, but there was a lot of action. PTI, ECYT, I stayed away from also. But this thing is basically, had an offering at $4 or $5, I think, and now it's at 11. So a lot of shorts probably getting hurt in this one. I've been focused more on the bigger cap, liquid names last few days, and that kind of helped me stay away from these. I don't know what to expect from ECYT. I'll look at it, but for now I'm staying away. So I got a feeling a lot of people might be getting hurt in these, and I don't like going long these trash names, and I don't want to be shorting something so strong and ripping people's face off. So stayed away from that one. Happy about that, but definitely an emotional day for me. I felt that there were multiple $10,000 swings in the account where it's just getting a lot of big moves, and kind of affecting my exits. And that's something I've been working on. I've been pushing myself to trade bigger and bigger, and sometimes the larger size will start to weigh on decision making. So I'm not upset. I think I'll go back and see what I could do better, and that's pretty much all we could do, right? Push our size, get bigger, and just try to get better. So I'll be doing a lot of reviewing tonight, and kind of happy that I'm able to go home green today on a day where I don't think I performed as well as I could have. So I'll take that and revisit tomorrow. But again, it seems like there is some action back, especially in market stocks, like the ones that are moving with the market. And that's pretty much that. Thank you guys for ways.